Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. The Department of Justice drops manslaughter charges for 2 doctors over the death of a patient in 2017. National Security Police arrest 2 people linked to the now-defunct 612 Humanitarian Relief Fund. And Novak Djokovic makes a stunning comeback to the US Open after 2 years. 2 public hospital doctors will no longer face manslaughter charges over a fatal medical blunder in 2017. They were earlier found guilty of professional misconduct over the treatment of a kidney patient, who eventually died of liver failure. Lam Chi-kwan and Chen Seo-kim remained silent and showed few emotions as they left Eastern Magistracy this morning. The 2 doctors may have escaped lengthy jail time after the prosecution decided to drop their manslaughter charges over a fatal medical blunder more than 6 years ago. Back in January 2017, chronic kidney patient Tang Kwai-si sought help at United Christian Hospital for inflammation. She was prescribed a high dosage of steroids by Lam, who failed to notice that Tang was a carrier of the hepatitis B virus and must also be given an antiviral drug to counteract the side effects. Chen repeated that mistake during a follow-up consultation, and Tang suffered acute liver failure in April that year. She underwent 2 liver surgeries, but eventually passed away in August. The Medical Council in 2021 found the 2 doctors guilty of professional misconduct and stripped their licenses for 5 and 3 months each, although the sentences were suspended. A coroner's inquest was due to kick off in February this year, before police arrested the doctors for manslaughter. But the Department of Justice said it was dropping the charges today upon reviewing the criminal prosecution code and evidence. Principal Magistrate Ivy Cho granted the request. In an email to colleagues, the hospital's chief executive, Deacon Yeung, described the decision as a relief and confirmed Lam and Chen will resume their duties. Yeung also pledged his support when the case is heard at the coroner's court. National Security Police arrested a doctor and a social worker as part of an ongoing crackdown against the now-defunct 612 Humanitarian Relief Fund. Officers raided a 3rd suspect's home in Aberdeen this afternoon, taking away boxes of evidence. It is believed the suspect, who is out of town, is a doctor from Queen Mary Hospital. 2 other men, aged 33 and 59, were taken away from their residences in Tai Po this morning. The pair are accused of conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and inciting others to commit riot. The social worker is believed to have urged youngsters to take part in anti-government protests and seek help from the fund. The doctor, who was arrested today, allegedly belonged to a group which provided medical treatment to injured protesters in 2019. The government has been accused of double standards after demanding a restaurant to shutter while letting others in the same industrial block continue to operate. A lawmaker has called for leniency amid challenging times. Macy Mock reports.
Kwong Wing Catering set off a storm on social media over the weekend after revealing that its noodle shop in Kwun Chong had to cease operation due to a land lease violation. The caterer was told that the factory building, which housed the restaurant, can be used solely for warehouse or industrial purposes, but dozens of other eateries inside Camel Paint building remain up and running, and people are now asking if the government is enforcing the law selectively. Speaking on commercial radio, the noodle shop's operator admitted that the Lands Department had earlier warned him against running a restaurant there. But he continued to operate after seeing many eateries in the building, some of which had been running for over a decade. He wondered if it was time to relax usage restrictions for the city's industrial buildings, especially when most manufacturing activities had relocated across the border. A brief search has revealed dozens of restaurants at Camel Paint Building, but according to the Lands Department, there were only 2 to 4 cases of lease breach in each of the past 3 years. Warning letters were sent to the property owners to rectify the situation. One restaurant operator told us that many of his peers decided to shut down temporarily to avoid further trouble. He urged authorities to give them clarity on whether they can continue doing business.
要搞活經濟，而家嘅商業咧，我哋下行緊。
Lawmaker Doreen Kong wondered if it was the right time to crack down on these restaurants, even if they may be exploiting a loophole. She pleaded for leniency, especially when top officials are trying hard to revive the city's economy. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Premier Li Qiang told visiting U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo that he hoped Sino-U.S. relations can develop through sincere and concrete actions. Meeting in the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, Li stressed that trade is the anchor for stable bilateral ties. China's #2 official added good economic relations and trade cooperation would be beneficial not only to both countries, but also the whole world. The senior U.S. official reiterated that Washington is only seeking to lower risks by keeping high-tech manufacturing on its shores, instead of trying to isolate China.
Yesterday, I met with Minister Wang. We spent 4 hours together, and we were able to establish a commercial issues working group, as well as a dialogue around export control enforcement. And President Biden asked me to come here to convey the message that we do not seek to decouple. We seek to maintain our $700 billion commercial relationship with China.
A Pakistani court has suspended the conviction and 3-year prison sentence of former Prime Minister Imran Khan involving graft charges. However, the 70-year-old will appear in a special court for a hearing in a separate cipher case tomorrow.
Today, the judgment was suspended by 2 judges of the High Court, and soon, inshallah ta'ala, Imran Khan would be out of jail in this case.
The cricket hero turned politician has all along denied the charges and accused the military-backed government of stopping him from standing in general elections later this year. Football leaders in Spain have joined growing calls for their leader to resign amid a harassment scandal. Luis Rubiales is facing the music after kissing a footballer at the Women's World Cup last week. Imran Khan reports.
Hundreds of protesters packed an open square in central Madrid, demanding the removal of embattled Spanish Football Federation chief Luis Rubiales. The crowd held placards and chanted in support of footballer Jenny Hermoso. It had been more than 1 week since Rubiales infamously grabbed Hermoso and kissed her on the lips, following Spain's triumph in the Women's World Cup. Hermoso voiced her grievances about the incident, stressing it was the tip of the iceberg, and much more went on behind the scenes. Her teammates got behind her, with dozens signing a statement saying they will not represent the country unless Rubiales was removed. But the defiant football chief denied any wrongdoing, insisting the kiss was consensual and that he is the victim of a witch hunt by fake feminists. Still, the backlash is growing by the minute against the 46-year-old, who is a father of 3 daughters. Days after FIFA suspended his duties, regional leaders of the Spanish Football Federation are now asking Rubiales to resign following an emergency meeting. But in a desperate bid to retain control of the situation, the group asked Europe's top governing body UEFA to consider expelling their clubs and national teams from competitions on the grounds of government interference. Reports suggested UEFA had denied the extraordinary request. Imran Khan, HKIBC.
Flights in and out of the United Kingdom continue to face significant delays after a system failure led to travel chaos. The ripple effect from yesterday's malfunction has thrown travel plans for passengers in disarray.
What we do know is that there's been a national outage at National Air Traffic Control, and that this has affected UK airspace. It will affect all incoming and outgoing flights and also those aircraft which are in the UK airspace. What's happened is that the automated systems have failed, and therefore procedures are having to be carried out manually. That is taking more time.
Travelers are urged to contact their airlines before leaving home. Although the glitch has been fixed, it will take days for carriers to clear the backlog of flights before schedules return back to normal. Roughly 1,200 flights to and from the UK were cancelled yesterday, affecting nearly 200,000 people. The government has set up a task force to enhance the city's stock market liquidity. The 13-member group will be led by Carlson Tong, former chairman of the Securities and Futures Commission. Other members include financial services sector lawmaker Robert Lee and other industry representatives. The group will review the city's listing regime, market structure, and trading mechanism before putting forward recommendations to Chief Executive John Lee. It did not specify a timetable. The announcement came after the city's benchmark advanced slightly by nearly 2%. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed the day up by 353 points. The top 10 active stocks. Tencent was up $4.20. The tracker fund was up 38 cents, while Alibaba was up $2. Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing was up $14.70, while Meituan was up $2.60. The forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar. The euro's at 8.47. 1,000 Japanese yen will get you 53 Hong Kong dollars, while the Australian dollar is at 5.03. Over in Europe, the London FTSE is currently up by 124 points. Hong Kong's home prices have dropped for a third consecutive month to a half-year low, but many developers remained optimistic in the long run, with dozens expressing interest for a redevelopment project in Kowloon City. Chloe Fong reports.
According to official figures, Hong Kong's home prices have dropped for a third consecutive month. The price index compiled by the Rating and Valuation Department slipped 1.1% to 343.4 in July, reaching its lowest level since February. The index has now lost 3% over the past 3 months, erasing most of the gains earlier this year. Luxury flats of 1,722 square feet or larger took the biggest hit, with prices down notably by 1.9%. Small and medium-sized units also fell over 1%. Joseph Zhang, chairman of a real estate services firm GLL Hong Kong, said that the game of searching for the bottom has just begun. He estimated home prices could fall by as much as 10% by the end of the year. Despite the gloomy sentiment, the Urban Renewal Authority said it had received 32 expressions of interest for a project in Kowloon City. Participating developers included New World Development, China Chem, China Merchants Land, and Great Eagle Holdings. The project at Shin Tak Street and Ma Tau Chung Road covers an area of around 4,300 square meters and offers 640 units when the aging low-rise blocks are redeveloped into residential towers. The site is expected to fetch up to $2.8 billion, and shortlist developers will be able to submit formal tenders. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
Finally, the weather. The heat continues tomorrow with sunshine and a few light showers in the afternoon. Temperatures will range between 26 and 33 degrees. The mercury will stay high in the lead up to the weekend. That's our main news for Tuesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Good night.